The real reason you're still broke, it's not the budget. You already know what you should do with money. Save more. Spend less. Invest early. Track your expenses. Pay off debt. Build an emergency fund. You know all of this. You are not stupid. You probably have a degree. You have read articles. You have watched videos. You have downloaded apps. And yet here you are, stuck in the same financial position you were in 2 years ago. This audiobook is for people who know what to do but cannot seem to do it. If you are looking for another list of money hacks or budget templates, this is not for you. If you want someone to tell you that compound interest is magical or that you need to cut out coffee, skip this. Those things are true, but they are not your problem. Your problem is deeper. Your problem is that you keep trying to fix your money by fixing your spreadsheet when the real issue is happening inside your head. You are trying to solve an emotional problem with a calculator. Here is what we are going to do today. I am going to show you why smart people stay broke. I am going to show you the psychological blockers that keep you stuck even when you have all the information you need. And I am going to give you a framework to actually change your behavior, not just understand it better. Later in this audiobook, I will give you the 2-minute version of this framework so you can start using it today. No need to pause or take notes right now. There is a toolkit in the description with all the tools, prompts, and a 7-day action plan. You can download it and use it later when you are ready to implement. Let me be clear about who this is not for. This is not for people who genuinely do not know what a savings account is or how credit cards work. If you need basic financial education, start there. This is for people who know better and still are not doing better. If that is you, keep listening. The problem and the real cause. Here is a scenario you might recognize. You sit down one evening and finally open that money app you downloaded 3 months ago. You look at your spending. You feel a wave of shame. How did you spend that much on takeout? You decide this is it. You are going to get serious. You are going to track every dollar. You are going to meal prep. You are going to stop wasting money. You feel motivated. You feel like you have finally turned a corner. 2 weeks later, you order delivery again. You tell yourself you were tired. You tell yourself it was just this once. But it was not just once. It keeps happening. The app stays closed. The shame builds. And 6 months later, you are right back where you started, except now you also feel like a failure. Let me tell you what actually happened. You thought your problem was that you did not have a plan. So you made a plan. But your plan failed because you were solving the wrong problem. Your problem was not lack of information. Your problem was not laziness. Your problem was that money triggers a specific emotional response in you, and you have been avoiding that feeling for years. Some people feel shame when they look at their bank account. Some people feel fear. Some people feel anger at themselves. Some people feel nothing, which is its own kind of avoidance. And here is the critical part. You cannot budget your way out of an emotional block. You cannot track your way out of avoidance. You cannot spreadsheet your way out of shame. You have been trying to fix your money problem by focusing on tactics. Better apps. Tighter budgets. Smarter strategies. But tactics do not work when the real issue is that you emotionally shut down every time you think about money. This is not your fault. You are not broken. The system we all inherited around money is misaligned with how human psychology actually works. We are taught that willpower and discipline are enough. We are taught that if we just try harder, we will succeed. But willpower is a terrible long-term strategy. It runs out. It always runs out. What you need is not more discipline. What you need is to understand why you avoid, why you shut down, and why you keep repeating the same patterns. Once you understand that, the tactics actually work. The framework. The framework I am going to teach you is called the emotional trigger map. It has 4 parts. Part 1 is identify the feeling. Most people do not actually know what emotion they are experiencing when they think about money. They just know it feels bad, so they avoid it. The first step is to name the specific feeling. Is it shame? Fear? Resentment? Guilt? Naming it gives you power over it. Part 2 is trace the origin. Every emotional reaction you have to money came from somewhere. Maybe your parents fought about money. Maybe you grew up hearing that talking about money is rude. Maybe you made a financial mistake that you have never forgiven yourself for. You need to know where the feeling comes from so you can separate past experience from present reality. Part 3 is reframe the story. Once you know the origin, you can rewrite the narrative. You are not bad with money because you are broken. You are bad with money because you learned unhelpful patterns and nobody ever taught you how to change them. This reframe is critical because shame blocks action. You cannot fix something you are too ashamed to look at. Part 4 is design microwins. Once the emotional block is cleared, tactics actually work. But you do not start with a complete financial overhaul. You start with one small action that proves to yourself that change is possible. One small win creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates consistency. That is the framework. Identify the feeling. Trace the origin. Reframe the story. Design microwins. If you are driving or working out, just listen. The toolkit in the description has the full breakdown with examples and prompts you can use. You do not need to memorize this. You just need to understand the concept. You will have the written version when you are ready to use it. Tool 1. The feeling inventory. Most people cannot name the emotion they feel about money. They just know they avoid it. The feeling inventory is a simple exercise that forces you to get specific. Here is how it works. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Open your bank account or your credit card statement. Do not try to fix anything. Just look at it. Then write down every feeling that comes up. Do not filter. Do not judge. Just write. You might write things like anxious, embarrassed, overwhelmed, stupid, trapped, angry, hopeless. Whatever comes up, write it down. The goal is not to feel good. The goal is to feel accurately. When to use this tool? Use it the first time you are ready to stop avoiding your money. Use it when you notice yourself procrastinating on financial tasks. Use it when you feel stuck. Here is an example. A client named Sarah used this tool and realized she felt resentful every time she looked at her student loan balance. Not anxious. Not scared. Resentful. Once she named it, she could ask why. Turns out she resented her younger self for choosing an expensive school. She was punishing present Sarah for a decision past Sarah made. Once she saw that, she could separate the two. She could forgive past Sarah and let present Sarah move forward. Here is a 7-day mini-experiment you can try. For the next 7 days, spend 3 minutes each morning writing down how you feel about money that day. Just one word. Anxious. Hopeful. Frustrated. Numb. Track the pattern. You will start to see which days trigger which feelings. That data is gold. The common failure mode with this tool is intellectualizing your feelings instead of actually feeling them. People write things like, "I feel like I should be better at this." That is not a feeling. That is a thought. A feeling is "I feel ashamed." Get specific. If you catch yourself using the word "like" in your feeling statement, try again. If this is resonating with you so far, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. It helps more people find these audiobooks. And if you want the toolkit with all the exercises and prompts, it is free in the description. Grab it now so you have it when you are ready to take action. Tool 2. The Origin Interview. Once you know what you feel, you need to know why you feel it. The Origin Interview is a set of questions you ask yourself to trace your emotional reactions back to their source. Here is the tool. Answer these 5 questions in writing. Where did I first learn about money? What did the adults in my life say about money? What was my first memory of feeling stress about money? What financial mistake do I still feel bad about? What story do I tell myself about why I am bad with money? When to use this tool? Use it after you complete the feeling inventory and you want to go deeper. Use it when you notice a strong emotional reaction that seems disproportionate to the situation. Here is an example. A client named Marcus realized he felt paralyzed every time he tried to invest. He could not figure out why. He did the Origin interview and remembered that his dad lost a lot of money in the stock market when Marcus was 12. His dad got depressed. The family struggled. Marcus internalized the message that investing is dangerous. Once he saw that connection, He could separate his dad's experience from his own reality. He was not his dad. The market today is not the market in 2008. That reframe unlocked him. Here is a 7-day experiment. Pick one question from the Origin interview. Spend 10 minutes journaling on it each day for a week. Go deeper each day. Do not rush. Let the answers come. The common failure mode here is stopping at the surface answer. If you ask yourself why you avoid looking at your bank account and you answer, because it stresses me out, that is not deep enough. Ask why it stresses you out. Then ask why that stresses you out. Keep going until you hit something that feels true in your body, not just true in your head. Tool 3. The story rewrite. Once you understand where your emotional patterns came from, you have to actively rewrite the story you tell yourself about money. This is not about positive thinking. This is about replacing an inaccurate narrative with a more accurate one. Here is the tool. Write down the old story you have been telling yourself. Then write the new story based on what you learned from the Origin interview. The format is simple. Old story: I am bad with money because I am irresponsible. New story: I struggled with money because nobody taught me and I learned avoidance as a coping mechanism, but I can learn new patterns now. When to use this tool? Use it after you have done the Origin interview and identified the false narrative you have been carrying. Use it whenever the old story resurfaces and you need to remind yourself of the truth. Here is an example. A client named Jessica had been telling herself for years that she was bad with money because she was impulsive. The old story was I have no self-control. When she did the Origin interview, she realized that her parents never let her make any decisions with money growing up. They controlled everything. She never learned how to make financial decisions because she was never allowed to practice. The new story became I am learning how to make financial decisions for the first time as an adult, and I am getting better with practice. That reframe changed everything for her. Here is a 7-day experiment. Write your old story on a card. Write your new story on the other side. Read the new story out loud every morning for 7 days. It will feel awkward. Do it anyway. Repetition rewires belief. The common failure mode is writing a new story that is just a positive affirmation with no grounding in reality. I am amazing with money does not work if you do not believe it. The new story has to be true and believable. It has to acknowledge where you have been and where you are going. If your new story feels fake when you say it out loud, rewrite it until it feels honest. Tool 4. The shame breaker. Shame is the biggest blocker when it comes to money. Shame makes you hide. Shame makes you avoid. Shame makes you lie to yourself. You cannot fix what you are too ashamed to look at. The shame breaker is a tool for disarming shame by exposing it to the light. Here is the tool. Find one person you trust. Tell them the financial thing you are most ashamed of. Do not sugarcoat it. Do not minimize it. Just say it out loud. I have 30,000 in credit card debt and I have been hiding it from my partner. I have not opened my bank account in 6 months because I am terrified of what I will see. Whatever it is, say it. When to use this tool? Use it when shame is keeping you stuck. Use it when you feel like you are the only person who has ever struggled with money. Use it when the secret is eating you alive. Here is an example. A client named David had been carrying 50,000 in student loan debt and had not made a payment in 2 years. He was too ashamed to even acknowledge it. He felt like a failure. He used the shame breaker and told his best friend the truth. His friend said, "That sounds hard. What do you need?" That was it. No judgment. No lecture. Just compassion. David cried. Then he called his loan servicer the next day and set up a payment plan. The shame was the only thing stopping him. Once the shame was gone, the action became simple. Here is a 7-day experiment. Write down your biggest financial shame on a piece of paper. Put it in an envelope. Carry it with you for 7 days. On day 7, open it and read it out loud to yourself in the mirror. If you feel ready, tell one person. If you do not feel ready, that is okay. Just carrying it and reading it to yourself is a start. The common failure mode is picking the wrong person to tell. Do not tell someone who will shame you more. Do not tell someone who will try to fix you. Tell someone who will listen without judgment. If you do not have that person in your life, write it in a journal and read it out loud to yourself. Speaking it breaks the spell. Midpoint recap. Let me give you a 60-second recap of where we are. We started by acknowledging that your money problem is not a knowledge problem. You already know what to do. The problem is emotional. You have been trying to fix your finances with tactics when what you actually need is to address the feelings that keep you stuck. The framework is the emotional trigger map. Identify the feeling. Trace the origin. Reframe the story. Design micro-wins. We covered 4 tools so far. The feeling inventory to name your emotions. The origin interview to understand where they came from. The story rewrite to replace false narratives with true ones. And the shame breaker to disarm the shame that keeps you hiding. If you only do one thing from this audiobook, do the feeling inventory. Spend 5 minutes looking at your money and writing down what you feel. That is it. That one action will give you more clarity than 100 budget templates. Now we are going to shift from understanding your emotional blocks to designing your way out of them. The second half of this audiobook is about action. But the action only works because you have done the emotional work first. If you skip the first half and jump straight to tactics, you will end up right back where you started. Quick reminder. The toolkit in the description has everything we are covering today. You do not need to memorize this. You do not need to take notes. Just keep listening. When you are ready to implement, the written version is there waiting for you. Tool 5, the Decision Cost Audit. You think your money problem is that you spend too much. But the real problem is usually that you are making too many decisions. Every decision costs energy. When you are emotionally drained, you default to the easiest choice, which is almost never the best choice. The Decision Cost Audit is a tool for identifying where you are bleeding decision energy and eliminating unnecessary choices. Here is how it works. For 1 week, track every financial decision you make. Not what you spend. What you decide. Should I buy this? Should I eat out? Should I check my account? Should I transfer money? Count them. At the end of the week, look at the number. You will be shocked. Then ask yourself, which of these decisions could I automate, eliminate, or pre-decide? Automate your savings transfer. Pre-decide your grocery budget. Eliminate subscription services you forgot you had. The goal is to reduce the number of decisions you have to make so you have energy left for the decisions that matter. When to use this tool? Use it when you feel decision fatigue. Use it when you notice yourself making impulsive choices because you are too tired to think. Use it when you want to build a system that works even when you are not at your best. Here is an example. A client named Rachel realized she was making 40 financial decisions a day. Should I pack lunch or buy it? Should I check my balance or avoid it? Should I move money to savings or leave it in checking? She was exhausted. She used the decision cost audit and cut her decisions down to 10 by automating transfers, meal prepping on Sundays, and setting a rule that she only checks her account on Mondays and Fridays. Her stress dropped immediately. Here is a 7-day experiment. Count your financial decisions for 1 week. Just tally them. Do not change anything yet. On day 8, pick the 3 decisions you make most often and figure out how to eliminate or automate them. Test it for another week and see how it feels. The common failure mode is trying to automate everything at once. Start small. Pick 1 decision. Automate it. Let it run for a month. Then pick another. If you try to overhaul your entire system in 1 day, you will overwhelm yourself and quit. Tool 6, the energy budget. You have a financial budget. You probably also need an energy budget. Most people try to change their money behavior when they are already burned out. It does not work. You need energy to make good decisions. If you do not have energy, you will default to avoidance and impulsivity. The energy budget is a tool for protecting your decision-making capacity. It works like this. Identify your high-energy times and your low-energy times. Schedule your important financial tasks during high-energy times. Protect your low-energy times from decisions. When to use this tool? Use it when you notice that you only avoid money when you are tired. Use it when you keep promising yourself you will look at your finances later, and later never comes. Use it when willpower is not enough. Here is an example. A client named Tom realized he only looked at his money late at night after work. He was exhausted. The numbers felt overwhelming. He would close the app and order takeout to feel better. Once he started scheduling his money check-ins for Saturday mornings when he had energy, everything changed. Same tasks. Same numbers. Different energy level. Totally different outcome. Here is a 7-day experiment. Track your energy levels each day. Rate yourself 1 to 10 at different times. Morning, afternoon, evening. After 1 week, look at your patterns. Then schedule one money task during your highest energy window. See what happens. The common failure mode is ignoring your energy patterns and trying to force yourself to do money tasks when you are depleted. That is like trying to run a marathon after staying up all night. You can do it, but you will hate it and you will not do it again. Respect your energy. Work with it, not against it. Tool 7. The Constraint Filter. Most people think freedom with money means having unlimited choices. But unlimited choices paralyze you. What you actually need is constraints. Constraints simplify decisions. Constraints reduce overwhelm. Constraints make action possible. The constraint filter is a tool for designing helpful limits that make financial decisions easier. Here is how it works. Pick one area of spending that stresses you out. Groceries, eating out, entertainment, whatever. Set one simple rule that eliminates choices. For example, I only buy groceries on Sundays. I only eat out twice a month. I only subscribe to 2 streaming services. When to use this tool? Use it when you feel paralyzed by too many options. Use it when you keep making decisions you regret. Use it when you want simplicity. Here is an example. A client named Lisa felt guilty every time she bought clothes. She would buy something, feel bad, return it, then buy something else and feel bad again. Endless cycle. She used the constraint filter and set a rule: I can only buy clothes 4 times a year, and I get 1 hour to decide. No browsing. No returns. 4 planned purchases. The guilt disappeared because the decision was already made. Here is a 7-day experiment. Pick one spending category. Set one constraint. Test it for 7 days. Notice what happens to your stress level and your decision-making. Adjust if needed. The common failure mode is setting constraints that are too rigid. If you say, I will never eat out again, you will break that rule in 3 days and feel like a failure. Set constraints that are realistic and flexible enough to handle real life. The goal is to make decisions easier, not to punish yourself. Tool 8. The Opportunity Cost Translator. Here is a truth most people do not like to hear. Every time you say yes to something with your money, you are saying no to something else. That takeout meal is a no to your emergency fund. That subscription you forgot about is a no to investing. You cannot have everything. Trade-offs are real. The Opportunity Cost Translator is a tool for making those trade-offs visible so you can make intentional choices instead of default choices. Here is how it works. Before you spend money, ask yourself, what am I giving up to buy this? Not in a guilt way. In a clarity way. If I buy this $50 thing, I am giving up $50 toward my emergency fund. Is that trade worth it to me right now? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. But you are making the choice consciously instead of mindlessly. When to use this tool? Use it when you are about to make an impulse purchase. Use it when you feel confused about why you are not hitting your financial goals even though you are trying. Use it when you need to remember what you are working toward. Here is an example. A client named Kevin kept saying he wanted to save for a down payment on a house, but he also kept buying expensive tech gadgets. He used the Opportunity Cost Translator and realized that each gadget was pushing his down payment goal back by 3 months. Once he saw the trade-off, the choice became clear. He stopped buying gadgets. Not because he felt guilty. Because he wanted the house more. Here is a 7-day experiment. For the next 7 days, every time you spend more than $20 on something, write down what you are giving up to buy it. Just write it down. You do not have to change your behavior. Just notice the trade-off. Awareness precedes change. The common failure mode is using this tool to shame yourself. That is not the goal. The goal is clarity. If you decide the trade-off is worth it, that is fine. Enjoy your purchase. The problem is not spending. The problem is unconscious spending. Make the trade-off visible, make the choice, and move on. Tool 9. The Time Budget Reality Check. You say you do not have time to deal with your money. I do not believe you. You have time. You just have not made it a priority. And I say that with compassion because I know why you have not made it a priority. It is not fun. It is not urgent. And it feels overwhelming. The Time Budget Reality Check is a tool for getting honest about where your time actually goes so you can carve out space for money without overhauling your entire life. Here is how it works. Track your time for 3 days. Not what you plan to do. What you actually do. Include everything. Work, sleep, eating, scrolling, watching shows, everything. At the end of 3 days, add it up. You will find pockets of time you did not know you had. Then ask yourself, can I trade 30 minutes of scrolling for 30 minutes of managing my money? Not every day. Once a week. That is it. You do not need hours. You need 30 focused minutes once a week. You have that time. You have just been using it for something else. When to use this tool? Use it when you keep saying you do not have time to look at your finances. Use it when you feel like money management is this huge project that requires hours you do not have. Use it when you need proof that small pockets of time are enough. Here is an example. A client named Emma said she was too busy to deal with her money. She had 2 kids, a full-time job, and no margin in her schedule. We did the time budget reality check. Turns out she spent 90 minutes a day on social media. Not judging. Just noticing. She swapped 30 minutes of scrolling on Sunday mornings for a money check-in. That was it. Problem solved. Here is a 7-day experiment. Track your time for 3 days. Find one 30-minute block you could reallocate. Schedule it on your calendar. Treat it like a meeting with yourself. If it is on the calendar, it is real. The common failure mode is thinking you need to find extra time instead of reallocating existing time. You do not need more hours in the day. You need to spend the hours you have on what matters. Be honest about where your time goes, then make an intentional trade. Tool 10. The Micro-Win Ladder. Big goals overwhelm you. Big goals make you quit. Big goals sound good, but they do not create momentum. What creates momentum is small wins that you can stack. The Micro-Win Ladder is a tool for breaking down your big financial goal into tiny actions that feel achievable. Each small win proves to yourself that change is possible. That proof builds confidence. Confidence drives the next action. Here is how it works. Write down your big financial goal. Then break it into the smallest possible first step. Not a reasonable first step. The smallest first step. If your goal is to save 10,000, your first step is not to save 1,000. Your first step is to open a savings account. Or if you already have one, your first step is to transfer $10 into it. That is it. Do that. Celebrate it. Then do the next small thing. When to use this tool? Use it when your financial goal feels so big that you do not even know where to start. Use it when you keep procrastinating because the task ahead feels impossible. Use it when you need momentum. Here is an example. A client named Chris wanted to pay off $40,000 in debt. Every time he thought about it, he froze. The number was too big. We used the Micro-Win Ladder. Step 1. Log into his loan account. That was it. He did it. Step 2. Write down the total he owed. Step 3. Call and ask about payment options. Each step took less than 10 minutes. Each step felt doable. Within 2 weeks, he had a payment plan. The debt did not shrink yet, but his sense of control grew. That is what matters. Here is a 7-day experiment. Pick your big financial goal. Break it into 7 micro-steps. Do 1 step per day for 7 days. Each step should take less than 15 minutes. Notice how your confidence grows with each small win. The common failure mode is making your micro-steps too big. If your first step still feels hard, break it down further. The goal is to make the first step so small that your brain cannot come up with an excuse not to do it. Once you are in motion, it is easier to stay in motion. Tool 11. The Failure Pre-Mortem. You are going to fail. Not because you are weak. Because you are human. You will skip a week. You will make an impulsive purchase. You will avoid your money for a month. It happens. The question is not whether you will fail. The question is what you will do when you fail. The failure pre-mortem is a tool for planning your response to failure before it happens. When you know what you will do when you mess up, the mess up does not derail you. You just follow the plan and get back on track. Here is how it works. Think about your financial goal. Now imagine you failed at it. What happened? Did you skip your savings transfer? Did you overspend on something? Did you avoid checking your account for 2 weeks? Write down the most likely failure. Then write down what you will do when that failure happens. Not if. When. For example, when I skip my weekly money check-in, I will do it the next day instead of waiting until next week. When I overspend on groceries, I will adjust next week instead of giving up entirely. When I feel shame, I will use the shame breaker tool and tell someone instead of hiding. When to use this tool? Use it when you are starting a new financial habit and you want to protect yourself from the shame spiral that usually follows a slip-up. Use it when you have a pattern of quitting after one mistake. Use it when you want to treat failure as data instead of identity. Here is an example. A client named Alicia kept trying to stick to a grocery budget and kept failing. Every time she went over budget, she felt like a failure and stopped trying. We used the failure pre-mortem. She wrote, "When I go over budget, I will look at what I bought, figure out what I can skip next week, and adjust." No shame. Just data. The next time she went over budget, she did exactly that. She did not quit. She adjusted. That was the breakthrough. Here is a 7-day experiment. Write down your most likely failure. Write down your response plan. Put it somewhere visible. When you fail, follow the plan. Notice that failure does not have to mean quitting. The common failure mode is skipping this step because you think you will not fail. You will. Everyone does. Planning for failure does not make you weak. It makes you realistic. And realistic plans work better than optimistic plans. Tool 12, the progress anchor. You are going to forget why you started. You are going to lose motivation. You are going to wonder if any of this matters. That is normal. That is why you need a progress anchor. A progress anchor is a tool for reminding yourself of the progress you have made when you cannot see it anymore. It works like this. Every time you complete a financial action, no matter how small, write it down. Transferred $20 to savings. Checked my account. Made a debt payment. Wrote it down. Keep a running list. When you feel stuck, read the list. You will see proof that you are moving forward even when it does not feel like it. When to use this tool? Use it when you feel like you are not making progress. Use it when you are tempted to quit. Use it when you need evidence that change is happening. Here is an example. A client named Jordan felt like he had been working on his finances for months with no results. He was frustrated. We pulled up his progress anchor. In 3 months, he had opened a savings account, set up automatic transfers, paid off 1 credit card, and increased his credit score by 40 points. He had forgotten all of that because he was focused on how much further he still had to go. The progress anchor reminded him how far he had already come. Here is a 7-day experiment. Start a progress anchor today. Every day for the next 7 days, write down 1 financial action you took. Even if it feels tiny. On day 7, read the whole list. Notice how it feels to see your progress in writing. The common failure mode is only writing down big wins and ignoring small actions. Write it all down. Every action counts. Progress is cumulative. You will not see the impact of 1 action. You will see the impact of 100 small actions over time. The progress anchor helps you see the 100. The 7-day Rewire Plan and Checklist. Here is your 7-day plan to start changing your relationship with money. This is not about perfection. This is about practice. Do 1 thing each day. That is it. Day 1. Spend 5 minutes doing the feeling inventory. Open your bank account. Write down what you feel. No fixing. Just naming. Day 2. Spend 10 minutes answering 1 question from the Origin interview. Pick the question that feels most relevant to you. Go deep. Day 3. Write your old money story and your new money story. Read the new story out loud. Day 4. Track your financial decisions for the day. Count them. Notice how many you make without thinking. Day 5. Identify your high-energy time. Schedule one money task during that window this week. Day 6. Pick your big financial goal. Break it into the smallest first step. Do that step today. Day 7. Start your progress anchor. Write down every financial action you took this week. That is the 7-day plan. Simple. Doable. Effective. Now here is the 2-minute version of this entire framework. If you only do these 5 things, you will see change. 1. Name what you feel about money. 2. Figure out where that feeling came from. 3. Rewrite the story you tell yourself. 4. Pick one small action. 5. Track your progress. That is it. 5 things. You can do 5 things. This is exactly what the toolkit is for. So keep listening now, then download the toolkit later when you are at your desk. It has all of this written out with prompts and checklists you can actually use. Do not try to remember everything. Just get the concept. The details are in the toolkit. Closing summary. Let me bring this all together. You are not still broke because you are lazy or stupid or bad with money. You are still broke because you have been trying to solve an emotional problem with tactical solutions. Budgets do not work when shame is running the show. Tracking does not work when avoidance is the pattern. Investing does not work when fear is blocking you. The emotional trigger map gives you a way to address the real problem. Identify the feeling. Trace the origin. Reframe the story. Design micro-wins. Once you clear the emotional blocks, the tactics actually work. Not because the tactics are magic. Because you are finally able to use them. Here are the 3 things you need to remember. 1. Your financial behavior is driven by emotion, not logic. Stop trying to logic your way out of an emotional block. 2. Small wins create momentum. You do not need to overhaul your entire life. You need to prove to yourself that change is possible. 3. Progress is not linear. You will fail. You will skip steps. You will avoid things. That is normal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency over time. Your next step for today is this. Download the toolkit. Do the feeling inventory. That is it. 5 minutes. You can do that. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button so more people can find practical audiobooks like this one. And check out the free toolkit in the description so you do not have to take notes. And share this with one friend who keeps saying they need to get their money together but never does. Once they understand that it is not about discipline, it is about emotion, they will finally be able to move forward. You know what to do. Now you know why you have not been doing it. And you have the tools to change that. Go use them.